Hello, welcome to the new season of Contemplations with Dad. Dad has just got off a plane from India and is spending summertime here with us. So it's quite a new experience. And Dad is still jet lagged. So
My body is still sleeping, and I just woke up, and I'm feeling so cold inside the house. That's why this is a little bit better because on the patio it is a little bit warmer.
so
It will take some time for my body to warm up. So, yeah, I was one slokam from this Bhagavad Gita was just floating through my head as I was waking up. Mahabhutani, is Bhidda Prakriti Ashtadha. Bhagavan is saying these are the 8 forms of my Prakriti. Mahabhutani is Panchabhutangal. Aparam Manas, Buddhi, Ahankara. These are the 8 Prakritis of Bhagavan. This is what he is saying. It is words of Bhagavan.
so there's Buddhi, Manas, Chitta, Ahangara.
Yeah,
Not in that order, but
Mahabhuta is Anjir. Bhumi, Apo, Analo, Vayu, Kham.
can you explain what that is?
Bhumi is the earth, the solid thing, which is...
So these are the different gross
These are,
elements.
yes, things which are the original Srishti or creations of Bhagavan. So Bhumi
is
Apa,
earth. What's
Apa
Apa?
is water.
Water.
Apo va idagam sarvam.
Okay.
So Apa, Anala. Anala is fire. Bhumi, Apa,
We still use
Anala.
Anal as fire in Tamil today, right? Yeah.
And Kham. Bhumi, Apa, Analo, Vayu.
Vayu.
Vayu is air. And Kham. These are the graded as
5 gross elements from grossest
the
to
Bhumi,
rarest.
Bhumi you can see, you can feel, you can touch, you can smell.
So it satisfies all the sensory perceptions.
Yeah. But Apa,
It
the
doesn't
water
take shape.
doesn't have shape.
It still takes. You can still
All the other things
do have all the sensory perceptions, but it
Vayu,
doesn't have a form.
Vayu doesn't even have a form.
Vayu-
It's just air. Air is all over. You can feel it, but you
No,
can't.
Anal, you can see.
Ah.
You can feel.
Anal.
So
And then Vayu.
Anal, you can't. It doesn't satisfy all 5
Yes.
sensory perceptions.
Bhumi, Apa, Anlo, Vayu, and Kham. Kham is the ether.
Vayu, you can't see.
Hmm.
You can feel.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it, right? And then
So-
Come, you can't even see.
So
You can't
it
feel.
is
It's beyond the
graded,
realms of our
becoming
sensory
finer
perception.
and finer at each
Yeah.
stage. Adukaduthathu Manasu, Buddhi.
These are the seven, not 7,
Ashtada, 8 agam.
8.
8 is ahamkaram. This Bhagavan says. So, Vayu, I'm still sleeping.
Okay,
now.
that's fine. No, but let me interject. So, I mean, in several of these talks, Sadhguru explains it beautifully, where he says, essentially, over here in the West, they think of the body as separate from the mind. But in reality, in India and in Hinduism, the mind is just a part of the body. It is
The
still
mind is matter.
yeah, the mind and the body are the same. So there's mind body and there's physical body. That's it. But
No,
it's still part of
you are not telling it the correct
right
way.
way. Okay.
The distinction is between matter and what is not matter. So, if a Bhumi, it is actual matter. You can view it under a microscope. Even Vayu, Anal, all this can be physically tested, examined, weighed, measured, or whatever it is. So, Bhumi, Apa, Anlo, Vayu, Kham. Kham is ether. Ether is finer than this. Even ether, you can quantify or evaluate. Then comes mind. Mind is so subtle a thing that it is easy to consider it as non-matter, but mind is matter. And that's what all our everybody says.
Rishis.
Bhagavan Maharshi says, Ramana Maharshi says, the manas, you must get hold of it. I am feeling this, I am sad, I am hungry, I am something. Who is this I? You are touching. So your eye is here, or your eye is here. It is somewhere inside you. And that is the manas. So the manas is such a fine thing, you cannot evaluate or quantify it. But still it is matter. Buddhi is also that. And ahamkaram also is included by Bhagavan in this. Ahamkaram is the ego.
Ego or identity.
Identity. So that identification of that person, that this is me, that is also a material thing. So,
and then you have chitta, which is completely devoid of all of these connections to the physical reality. That's a part of us, part of our consciousness, which is completely independent of the physical aspects of us.
So this thought, this sloka was floating in my head as Mom woke me up saying they are all upstairs. I said, who is upstairs? Upstairs? Where are we? Well, let me get up. So it took me half an hour to get up, take my body from the bed to the steps. And
so it's a real realization, like where it's one of those moments, when you finish, when you fly and you're jet lagged and stuff,
yes,
your consciousness is a little distinct from your body. Your body is completely in a different realm from your mind and your consciousness.
Correct. It's surprising how I think around 4-hour flight from Austin to Boston.
It throws you off.
Boston to Denver.
I'm jet lagged as well. Yeah.
Boston to Denver, I got such a jet lag. I'm sure Mom is also jet lagged. She's sleeping.
Yeah,
I think.
You're jet lagged on top of jet lag. I'm just jet lagged.
Jet lag square then.
So no, I just wanted to say the way Sadhguru describes it is beautiful. So he talks about these. If you think of the mind, you can roughly break it into 4 parts. So you've got buddhi.
Yes.
So buddhi is knowledge, right? What you're getting from the external environment, using your sense perceptions.
Buddhi is the capacity for intelligence, for your brain buddhi is to think, to absorb, to analyze, and to conceptualize.
Okay. So buddhi is your intellect. Okay. So buddhi is intellect, right? And then you have manas. Manas is the repository of memory, right? And then you've got ahankara, which is your identity.
Yeah.
Right? Or your ego.
Yeah.
Right? That's the I-ness of things. So your place in the world, your place in the universe, who you are. And then one that is unsullied by all of this is chitta, which is
chitta is entirely different.
Which is completely this thing consciousness.
Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta Bhavam Isham Atmana Bhaven Shadindriyani Samniyamya Nischala Asti Vastu Chid Ghanam Jagat Prasuti Karanam Nanashwaram Tatudbhavam Jagat Tamonudam Chayat Tat Swarupa Bhavanam Sadamritam Niranjanam Chitta Vritti Drik Sukham Tadasmeham. That chitta is what I am, but that chitta is getting covered.
You don't even know it's there.
And absorbed and held captive by the ahankara. Manas. Ahankara and manas are combined together the deadliest enemies.
In fact, this comes to a very important point. So, over the last 10 years, the big hot topic in society and social conversations is identity.
In the USA.
In the US and in India, it seems to be getting all over, where people have lost their inherent sense of identity, and because of that, now they are searching, they're yearning for an identity, and they feel incomplete without it.
Okay, I'll
So,
agree with that.
so the way
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. People, the only feel I have of the situation is during the last 10 years, I have seen the population swell just in front of my eyes. I can feel more people along the streets, and everyone is in a hurry, and no one cares for the other man, and each one wants to take advantage and get something for nothing. The whole society is in a mess.
right now, post-pandemic, it really is showing its ugly head.
So that is what I have evaluated
But-
personally.
I'm trying to let me bring it back to the topic. It's because each person is trying to hold their identity as being pure and superior to someone else's. They all either are lacking identity and holding on to grasping on to little bits of what they can bring together and calling that their identity. It's like a life raft. They're getting different logs, trying to put it together and hold on to it. And they're holding on. The less identity they have, the more they're trying to hold on to it, which is completely antithetical to what is necessary in order to let go of everything.
Okay, I'll grant you that. But the ordinary man who is rushing around on the streets, when he's going there, he's delivering something from the shop to that house, or he's doing something, and half of it is not really good, valid activity. Many of them are not really good
Being
for
productive,
himself
yeah.
or the society. Maybe it is nefarious, maybe it is illegal, but everyone is doing activity for survival, because the population increases and the social situation has made it very difficult for an individual to carry on usual day-to-day life, normal day-to-day life. Everyone has to figure out, now I've got up, I should get something to eat or drink. From where, how will I get? They can't be beggars. Each one has got a certain sense of self-respect. So they would want to do some work. They are not trained. So what work will they do? There is no scope for just casual work.
You just, since you've touched upon it, you look at Western countries. Western countries have forgotten the hand-to-mouth existence that the Eastern countries are in. Not Eastern, but the developing world is in. So the Western countries now have a level of luxury of time where people can afford to be, first of all, having faith in an entity that is not yours, so you can either blame it for everything or you can look to it for support for pushing through.
Yeah.
It's just not even there. So people live their entire lives without even needing that. And during a state like the pandemic now, it creates a real void where they just don't have anything. They have no foundation, nothing to hold on to.
They need something, but they don't have any.
They don't
idea
have
what
it.
is. Okay.
So you've got people that are. So this is why you're seeing a complete fraying in Western societies, where those that have held on to some sort of religion or faith is holding on to it tighter.
No.
Whereas those that have abandoned it in previous generations are running away from it further, but they're looking to get something else. This is why amongst those realms of society, identity is becoming a bigger and bigger and bigger issue. Because they don't have a solid foundation. They are grasping onto straws and trying to build a raft out of it. And when that happens, they're just holding on to the identity, which is completely eclipsing their true reality, which is their true self, which is
I think you are floating way away from the ground.
So the point is, the way Sadhguru describes it is, buddhi is intellect.
Yeah.
And the intellect, it needs to be sharp.
Yes.
You cannot have a dull intellect. In India, if you are dull, if your intellect is dull, if your buddhi is dull, they call you a buddhu, right? So you want your buddhi to be sharp.
Yeah.
It's like a scalpel. It's a cutting instrument.
Yeah.
You don't want a blunt instrument.
Yeah.
A blunt instrument could probably cause more harm, but a sharp instrument, a sharp buddhi, will be more incisive. It cuts and it does damage, right? So if you consider, this analogy is beautiful. So if you consider the buddhi to be a scalpel, right, then the ahankara is the hand holding that scalpel.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So what and how that scalpel cuts is defined by the ahankara.
Correct.
Which is the hand holding the scalpel.
Correct, yes.
What determines that identity, that ahankara? The memory, the manas. Right? So the manas, which is the large repository of memory, is what feeds into that ahankara.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And beyond all of that is the chitta.
Yes.
So really you need to have you need to eliminate the smallness of the ahankara, the selfishness of it. Ego is a good translation, but really identity. You want to have as universal an identity as possible in order to let the chitta shine through. At least to have access to it.
Yeah.
That's the point I'm trying to make in connection to modern society and the situation we're in our current day and age.
And you see, these are all words and words and words. The thought to be, which you are trying to explain, needs so many words. But to the really wise or the elevated, enlightened souls, there's no need of word at all. And my mentor, my best example is always Ramana Maharshi. Who is this I? Trace that I and catch hold of it. So he says the same what we have talked about in a different way. He says, you are saying I. Find that I, trace it. Start with this. You have to breathe. So focus your attention on the breath. Follow it into where it is going. And then it's coming. When you get your mind focused on that breath, you will find that that breath goes and it is becoming finer and finer, and that is where it goes and it is going into the mind and the ahankara and all that. So then root it out and throw it away. The manasa and ahankara have no validity at all. When you throw it out, then you find what is the I. The I is the chitta, the Atman.
That is true intelligence, right? That is what chitta
No,
is.
it is not intelligence. It is your
Universal principle.
See, that it is the only thing which exists. The Atma and Paramatma. And it is this simple analogy somewhere which is given. There is water of the ocean or the lake or whatever it is, and it is all over. And in that there is a bubble. That bubble, it has a form and shape because of the surface tension on it. And that surface tension is the ahankara which is holding that bubble in shape.
Correct.
Once that ahankara is dissolved, the bubble just collapses and
Becomes part of the...
merges into the water. That water is the Paramatma. It is placid, it is there always and ever. And the bubbles are just arising and collapsing. The ahankara just comes up for a fleeting moment and it collapses. That fleeting moment
and pop up.
Yes, that fleeting moment is for us a lifetime.
Yeah.
But in terms of the Paramatma, it is there forever. It neither is born nor does it cease to exist. this same truth is said in thousands of different ways in different things. And you may read all the words which you can find. But if
But ultimately, that is the universal.
if you actually get that crux of it, then you don't need any words to understand it.
And that is the true purpose of yoga.
Yes. So
Must be said, because these days, I mean, part of this series is to eliminate misconceptions and misunderstandings, because more as the West is getting more and more exposed to Eastern culture, if it's not being introduced in the correct means, it's only going to be misinterpreted.
yeah,
So-
the West has always misinterpreted.
Yeah,
the
but what I'm trying to say
Eastern-
is now there's a genuine interest. But then there are multiple avenues also to actually clarify what
It's a great
potential
tragedy that
misunderstandings
the
are there.
West has got so much of capability, wealth, power, and everything, but unfortunately, they got certain religious belief systems
Which has
which
now
are-
collapsed.
which are antithetic.
They're saying
Just-
they're saying the rather than right now there are more and more people who are atheistic, who believe that there's
Yes, that is all
Yeah.
said. People will say many things, but you go into the hinterland in USA, to the real
Bible Belt.
Americans. They are all very deeply religious, and they are all committed to the church and etc. Even though every day they hear things about the church, they are committed because they are born.
Well, that's their
as
identity.
child.
That's
and that
their
is the
ahankara,
identity.
yeah.
How to give it up, they do not know. Whereas here, you need one Maharshi, and you will have 10,000 followers. But the 10,000, 100,000, a million followers, the followers do not subscribe to a belief system which is antithetical to the truth. The truth is so and so.
Yeah.
So,
It's universal.
what they do in India, the Hindus, they put it everything on Bhagavan. Enna pandrama, Kadavul. So they put Kadavul in the picture. That Kadavul is a rascal. He is the one who either does or does not do. So they do not take the load of having that or doing or not doing that. India has so much of noise and disturbance.
It's the wind. There's a storm coming.
I'm just waking up and all this is happening.
Look at that. You can see that little. I don't know where that piece of paper came from, but it's flying all over the place.
So,
All right, I think,
it's good we had a little talk and my body is just
Yeah.
about
So
to-
let's. I think this was an excellent conversation. A great start to the season. Let's wind up for today, and we'll continue with another.
It's nice to
A
have
topic that just floats like the wind into our minds.
Oh, yes.
You know, from the Akasha. We'll just
Thank you,
figure
thank
out
you.
something else tomorrow.
It's nice to talk about matters like this and I
Right.
love to do it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dad.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.